Hey everybody, welcome back to a very exciting fireside chat as we approach the end of the second day of the Global DeFi Conference. This chat is going to be moderated by Carsten von Husen with the speakers Sarojini Mckenna of Alien Worlds and Pooya Rayat of Catheon Gaming. I know I've probably pronounced that incorrectly, even though he just told me what it was. So I'm very sorry, Pooya, about that. As I'm sure you're aware by now, you can leave your questions to the right-hand side, comment in the chat. There will be time for questions during this one, so really make sure to get them in. Such brilliant guests, brilliant moderator, and there's going to be tons of interesting stuff. And also just a quick reminder, I mean, one of our sponsors, Pendulum, has a booth currently with lots of opportunities and, great products that you can go and have a look at. Pendulum is an open source blockchain that aims to establish the missing link between the fiat and the DeFi ecosystems through a sophisticated smart contract network. Pendulum is built with Substrate and allow connecting DeFi to the foreign exchange market, building automated market makers to introduce scalable liquidity pools for fiat currencies and create yield earning opportunities for fiat token holders. So I'll just put up the opportunity now to go check out their booth. I would highly recommend giving it a look. And without further ado, I'll get out of the way and bring on your host.
Hello and good day, whatever time of day it is now with you guys. I'm Carsten. That's actually pronounced as if or spelled as if I would have 10 cars, just the other way around. So maybe I don't own them. I see them from the backside when they drive by. So I'm Carsten. I have the pleasure and honor to be the moderator with two fantastic guests today here, which I will be interviewing on the future of gaming with DeFi. And as we all know, gaming is huge. And it has been around for so many decades and it won't go away. And of course, DeFi is fantastic and new. And in theory, it is a marriage in heaven, which has been going back as a promise many years, at least as it comes to blockchain and gaming together. Maybe not so much as it comes to NFTs, but still. But it didn't always work out so well. Today, Sarah will be with us, who has proven perfectly, maybe like little few other people on this planet, how it actually works. And I'll be intrigued to find out what we can learn from that, from her past, and how it will impact the future. And then also, I will be having the honor to meet up with excellent community pro, as I can tell, Pooya, who is with Catheon, and both of which should maybe introduce themselves quickly now. And I know from Pooya that he's fully aware and shares in many of my critiques in the way that, you know what, although there's so much potential out there, it's not exactly that these gamers as they exist today have fully weighted and are loving NFTs as they are. So how to tackle that, how to solve that, how to bring that into the future will be the topic of our half-hour fireside chat. Of course, in the end, we will open up to the audience for some questions, which is kindly being possible to be clicked in here and then administered by Mahon so that we'll not forget them in the end. Sarah, please start introducing yourself, and of course didn't talk about your fantastic success, Alien World. Still, I leave that all to you.
Sure. Thanks so much, Carsten. Great to be here. Great to be sharing the stage with Pooya. Thank you so much for the introduction. So I'm Sarah Mckenna, co-founder and CEO of Coco, which created Alien Worlds. We're the second largest blockchain game in the world.
What's the biggest one for the audience? I guess
Splinterlands. Yeah, by users. And something like the third largest DApp, I think. So it'd be PancakeSwap and then Splinterlands and then us. So
What was the second one? Pancake, and you said
Yeah, so in terms of dApps overall,
yeah,
so within the
yeah,
gaming part
yeah.
of
So
that
you said
ranking, we'd
Pancake,
be
and the
number 2.
second I couldn't copy. That's why. Sorry to interrupt.
Splinterland. So if you were
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at all
Mhm.
dApps, then you'd get that kind of a ranking. And that's all available on dApp Radar. So that's the source for user metrics for blockchain applications, dappradar.com. So, Alien Worlds is an NFT and DAO metaverse. So we had this concept to bring NFTs, which, as we know, allow us to represent unique objects. And in a gaming environment, that's super handy. You can have, cards with attributes on them that then are read by the smart contracts and allow the player to use those and to curate different combinations of NFTs to do different things. We have land, which is an NFT in our metaverse, which sits on a planet, and the planet itself is a DAO. So our play to earn rewards go through a DAO mechanism, a community mechanism, and then they go to users when they use the NFTs for mining. So we're a metaverse, a shared digital space where people come together as co-owners, and that's made possible by tokenization, by the fact that you've got different assets that are tokenized, the fungible token, the NFTs, the DAOs, which are themselves tokenized, which create owner contributors of the system, right? Everybody that owns those tokens becomes a co-owner of the system. They have stake in the system. They care about its trajectory. They're interested in adding to its richness and its interest, and they act like owners. And I think this is kind of the great insight of blockchain gaming versus other forms of gaming, is that ultimately you just can't replace the electric impact of making your whole community a co-owner alongside you as the creator, and this then just propels the project to a level of decentralization, a level of potentially sustainability over time, and a level of innovation that I think is kind of unprecedented.
Mhm. Very well. We'll come back to that in a bit. So, of course, Saro has been successful in raising a monster project from the ground up and with all that community already in place. If I understand correctly, Pooya, you are instrumental in building up communities from early on. Please share on your job, on your what you're doing with Catheon.
Sure thing. So, thanks for the warm introduction. Glad to be alongside you, Carsten, and you, Sarah, as well. Appreciate it. So we're gonna have a good time here. So just very, very briefly about me and like what I do at Catheon, and also would like to touch and give my touch on and give my 2 cents on what I think about this space as well. So very, very briefly. Yeah, so I started with one of the titles that Catheon Gaming has. We have 6 confirmed now, and about I can't say how many, but a few more in the pipeline. So I started with one of them, but then I realized community is what I'm good at, and I enjoy it a lot. So what ended up happening is that we created one game called Soul Chicks, and we realized that wow, this space is gaining so much more traction than we realized. And we also realized that wow, we're actually pretty good at creating this community from the ground up. We've learned this thing, which is very valuable. This skill is very valuable. Why do we put ourselves in a place where we're never going to use that again? So we realized that okay, this is actually a service that we can use to get partnerships with other games and help with this. So and that's where I came in. So I along with one other guy who's super talented, and we've built all these communities. So these 5-6 communities, I've helped them from the ground up to build them up.
How big are them, the bigger ones of your projects?
Yeah,
I
great
mean,
question.
most
So
people know about alien worlds, but I'll not speculate. But how about yours, Pooya?
yeah, exactly. So the biggest one we have right now, I would say somewhere around 900,000 total in our like social following.
Yeah.
Of course, some of them you have some people who are on more than one social, but that's the number that we have right now in terms of the total following. So somewhere
Mhm.
around 210, 220 on Discord, K
Mhm.
on Discord, etc. So there's a lot of people interested in what we're doing and in the space in general. And I think it's like both. I think Sarah touched upon the shared ownership through tokenization, which is something I'm super interested in because, like, I think everyone can remember. Hopefully, everyone can remember a game you played where maybe there was some change to the game that really sucked for you. Maybe your class got really nerfed, and and everybody knew it was a horrible change, even the ones who weren't playing it. And then it takes the company 2 months to fix that because all of the power is centralized. So there are some great utility
So
that we can see.
you say decentralization brings quicker decisions.
Perhaps not quicker, but at least sometimes better. It's like
Mhm.
because sometimes there's like it's a decision that's so obviously bad for everyone, but
Yeah.
someone is so disconnected from the effect that they can't see it.
Mhm.
So this is a quick intro about myself, and just to touch on what Sarah said.
Yeah. So both of you obviously earn your money in the space, and apparently both of you reach out to so many players. What's the current numbers? So, Sarah,
We're 7 million plus lifetime players
yeah,
of the game. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And of course, this total in November last year. Is there a correlation between the how would I say, NFTs haven't suffered that much as the overall crypto price of all sorts of projects. Are you seeing a correlation between the usage of your games and the price of Father Bitcoin and all the rest of them, so to speak? Because overall, game investors, as one might call them, are maybe losing some sort of an interest, or is it completely different because it's the fundamental use case that keeps people active in the community, plus, of course, a certain NFT interest?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think that it's a little so the kind of explosion of blockchain gaming over the last kind of 18 months tracked the bull market largely. So it's, we definitely haven't seen any, there might have been a slight leveling off of that sort of hyperbolic growth when prices sort of leveled. Honestly, I don't look at prices a huge amount. It's as someone who actually is building a project, if I spent my life looking at our own price or other prices, it would, it's very hard to focus and actually build, which is what we need to do to,
Absolutely, it's
long term.
completely
So
different things. You are either
yeah,
an investor or so, or you don't even need to be a day trader. Still, the space so much happens. If you are an investor, a hodler, it's so different from being a biddler, right? Then you're just too busy.
yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of our community as well. I mean, of course, there are people with different motivations, but people really enjoy connecting with each other, meeting people, developing their strategy. Um, in our case, there's a mining game which has a certain type of strategy around NFTs, but then there's a broader DAO game which is more where you have to collectively strategize at a grander kind of scale. Um, that's what I am plugged into, and I see people being just as interested in that, if not more. I mean, more and more people are discovering it all the time, right? So we're
Yeah.
constantly welcoming new people, and yeah, I mean, our early adopters are kind of the OGs within our own community, and they have a certain perspective, and then all the successive waves of people that have come in. But I mean, growth is the dominant experience that we're having across, all of the ups and downs of the market.
Mm. So is the majority there for the participation and the game itself, or are there a lot of people in there which are betting on the price increase of the NFTs that are happening around Alien Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, everyone who's playing the game, I think, is there to play the game because it's actually, I mean, if you didn't enjoy playing the game, there would be a lot of things to do with your time that
Mm.
would be more lucrative, quite frankly. I mean, um, especially until you hit upon a strategy that it really works for you, mining or a DAO strategy that so I think people enjoy that kind of mastery, becoming better at it, meeting other people, curating the NFT collection that they really want. Yes, I'm sure, no doubt, there are people involved, who have different motivations, but I think they're, the ones that we actually see in the community and people who are actually building parts of the metaverse alongside us are, the ones who are interested in the technology, interested in what it can do, interested in creating their own NFTs, oftentimes interested in using the metaverse as a platform for their own entrepreneurial idea.
Okay.
They might have an idea outside of the metaverse, like, for example, if they're a team outside of the metaverse, or sometimes they could be actually like a technology provider outside of the metaverse, and it's kind of a nice adjunct for them to come in and provide certain services within the metaverse that allow other people to get their idea out better. So, for example, NFT drops as a service. There are companies that do
Would
that
you
within
guess
Alien
that the
Worlds.
majority of your players have been gamers before you started your project? Or have you basically been bringing new people into the gaming space? So, of course, the question is, who brings people where? Do
Yeah.
gamers become crypto heads, or do crypto heads start playing?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to tell because I'm a crypto person fundamentally. So I would probably see that, more. I think it's probably more crypto people who've come in and are starting to play because, those are the people who just the communities would have been more aligned and so on. But it's definitely the case that the traditional gaming world is noticing, and they want to figure out what's going on. Like they don't want to, not
Oh,
all of them,
yes,
especially, yeah. So
everybody is, yes.
yeah, so I think we also see, and actually it's really gratifying because of course we hear people say it's not a real game, or although by the way that has always been said of every successive new type of gaming. So when mobile gaming first came in, there was this thing, though that's not a real game, it's just on a tiny phone, and it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
No, I
it's
mean
not sophisticated.
the inertia or whatever is always huge, and I mean I have been around in the digital gaming publishing space for more than 20 years now, and I have been luckily associated with evangelizing in a certain way the free-to-play business model. And as
Exactly.
you both know, and many of our audience, that reception was terrible.
Right.
But then again, today it's called in-app purchases and mobile, and it's making up for 95% of the revenue of the category of gaming and mobile
Exactly.
stores, and that's by far the dominating category of them all. So there may be some way of adoption. How do Pooya you see that? I mean, are you reaching out at the moment to typical crypto heads to get them into your space, or do you already implement a strategy reaching out to the core gamers or casual gamers rather, maybe?
Very, very good question. So right here and now, because by the way, this is such a great question because
I mean,
what we've
you can only work with people that are there. You cannot drag people or whatever.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because everyone wants gamers. Because if you look at where the revenue is coming from, it's not in crypto right now. Play to earn gaming. The like countries that have the highest amount of revenue for the games that have highest revenue in these countries, they are a minority when you look at which countries actually have the majority of players in these play to earn games. So, for example, Southeast Asia sees like they're like the highest. What's sorry, English is not my native language.
Yeah.
It's Swedish, but so they're like overrepresented in these play to earn games. There's so many of them playing, and that's because this is a great economic opportunity for them. And these games, I'm in the industry, I love it, but honestly, these games aren't necessarily entertainment first and earning second. But we see this as a huge opportunity. So what we're focusing, of course, these people who see this as a way to make money, because all these guilds, for example, many of them are in Southeast Asia. So we're absolutely focusing them. But the plan is to be entertainment first and to make sure that we slowly tap into these game investors, but also eventually the traditional gaming market with these AAA titles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a long journey there. Like you mentioned, they don't the reception is awful, like it's been with free to play, like it's been with a freemium,
Yeah, no,
um
it's terrible. And I mean,
it's
the
terrible.
biggest PC distribution platform has, of course, fully forbidden it and gave Newell of the Steam. Valve has given an interview and he's applauded. And the other day, Minecraft said they hate it too, and everybody does. Yes. And I understand a lot with the reason. You know, Sarah, you said it's about ownership. But whatever happens to your entities at some point in time, nobody knows. You know, even Jeff Bezos said Amazon will die because
Hmm.
it will. There's no doubt. And you are having a certain affiliation with aliens and the outside areas of the universe. So it will eventually die. So nothing will be left. Will you only die when the rest of the earth is gone? Probably not. So,
Right.
you know what gamers always say is, um, what is left, you can of course have your image of something if it's in the NFT, if it's not only a link going to a server, you can have that and then drawing together style, have all these NFTs of whomever, if you're becoming the dominant universe, the dominant metaverse, have everything drawn together there. But the original purpose of that NFT, which has these functionalities in a game, that is gone with the gaming service. So what is it? Is it really that it survives, or is it just a nice story?
Yeah. So this is super, super important to understand with blockchain gaming and these tokens. So, even the concept of Alien Worlds NFTs, there are NFTs that we've created and put out into the world. And those NFTs actually also are read by our game smart contracts. So if you have a different NFT when you try and play the game than one of ours, it won't work, right? The game won't perceive that as
You're not
being
even
functional.
proclaiming that bring us all the NFTs of the world in our metaverse. Others say you can display them all.
No, I mean, we do have an aspiration to become more interoperable over
Okay.
time. It's not that, but the fact that the NFT is used within our game now, I mean, already we have the community using our NFTs in other ways. So, for example, some of them use them as rewards that they give out in Twitter competitions, or that they use as little rewards and little ways of tracking participation and voting just through their community that might be on Telegram. So these are the green shoots of people saying, okay, well, look at all these NFTs that exist in the world. They have an affiliation to a community of people. Let's use them for something. All you have to do is have a blockchain account and be able to make the transactions, maybe be able to code some simple smart contracts that disseminate them in certain ways, right? So once
Mhm.
those exist in the world, and once they're affiliated with a community, that is the beginning of the interconnectedness that the metaverse is, right? It's a group of people who come together in a shared digital space, but that digital space doesn't have to be an AR or VR build out. It can be a group of people who all own the metaverse together. They own the tokens of the metaverse. And then it doesn't, what happens is once you reach a certain scale, longevity is not guaranteed, but it's made a lot more likely
Mhm.
because you've got millions of users, all these NFTs out there. It becomes almost inconceivable that someone else doesn't come in and start creating use cases for that because it's such a rich pool of resource for any project. And they don't have to ask my permission to do that, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to say, hey, can we use your NFTs this, that, or the other way? Can we, get a list of the accounts that are playing Alien Worlds? That's all on the blockchain. It's nothing
Mhm.
proprietary to me. I don't own that in any way. I do not own the metaverse, right? So we own the particular smart contracts that govern the actual functionality that we've put out, but we don't own it. We don't own the tokens. So this, I think, is really important. And honestly, I will just say, nobody gets this yet, right? So I can even just say, like, when I was speaking to our PR people, right, and they're trying to write a press release, they always, bless them, they're doing their best, and and they're great, by the way, but they try and write it as if it were like a normal company, right? So they're saying, but how about the IP? And, did you have
Yeah.
to create a specific corporate partnership? And we're saying, no, we didn't actually. We just had to create a technical bridge. Or no, we're not trying to retain the IP. In fact, we're open sourcing it.
Yeah.
So this is exactly the Web 2 to Web 3 journey that we're on, right? Is where the business model is completely different. You want to open source it, you want to give it away, you want to create co-owners, you only own a tiny part of it, but you're trying to uplift the whole thing. It is completely different from business practices in Web 2 or previous
Mhm.
business models, and people are struggling to get it. But of course, we're all on that journey together, and it's super exciting.
Very well. So we started a bit later, so we take the liberty to be a few more minutes on. Just two last questions to both of you. Very simple ones, very simple answers, ideally a few words only. So, will gamers change their mind, adopt Web3, and become one of the most important drivers of crypto adoption as a mass of people joining in? Pooya first. Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
Sarah, 200% probably, right?
Yes, yeah. In general, most of them, not all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the most important thing, Sarah, first to achieve that? Because we knew how big the thing is, the resistance. So is it just a matter of time? We will be doing what we do, and people will just flock to us naturally, or is there one simple thing that we can change as an industry to provide and make better?
It's shared success, right? It's the fact that not just the creators of the platform succeed, but all of the participants succeed, right? You come up with an idea in the metaverse, you can find an audience for it, you can have a business there, you can make money out of it, you can meet people. It's all freely available, and this is why people are enjoying their time within the metaverse, because it's lucrative to them in some way, whether that's meeting people or learning a new skill or because of the play to earn mechanics. So we're creating people who are successful, people who are, getting what they want out of their time in the space, and this is what creates adoption.
Okay. Pooya, if you would need to single out one thing, like your magic sauce, which nobody has, but your guess for the future, how could we as an industry attract more positive reaction by the gamers?
With one word?
Yeah.
Few words.
No easy questions today.
I
Few
mean,
words.
many people would have said, and they don't admit, maybe profits, and that's maybe a very negative take on things.
I would
But at the end
argue
of the day, it's also true. That's what this success of DeFi has also encompassed. Of course, I'm not saying that it's not about decentralization, freedom, all these things we all know and we are all appreciating. I mean, sending things around in the middle of Saturday night in 2 minutes. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree, and I would say profit super important, and this is cliche, but entertainment too. If you want the gamers, it needs to be a good game, and like the way I present it to my friends who don't understand is we play League of Legends together, and I'm like, if you sell your account, you have to go to a website where you might get hacked. The trust is super low on that website because you're already dealing with someone who is operating in an area that they aren't allowed to. And like I've played League of Legends for years. I love it, but my account is worth what, $100 max? It's such a bad ROI, and I buy the assets. So if I could choose between that and like in 5-10 years, the game where I own the assets myself, all this time I put in, I actually get rewarded for it.
I
I
do
would of course
agree.
choose this.
I think, however, that if you look at entertainment in an ROI way, you shouldn't be doing that. But I'm not saying you do that. So it's just about maybe making clear that there is a benefit of ownership, as both of you said, and that might be partially go away, but being uplifted by the community and continue to live. And that's why there is a very interesting field. And myself, I'm active in that since last summer again. So I was years in the crypto space as a investor and hodler, and now I've left my garden last summer. Haha, not surprising the timeline, and building there again coming up soon. So, and I believe entertainment is important because I have been so long with all these gamers, also in the professional area, and I believe that's something that we should all be striving for. Gents, Sarah and Pooya, thank you very much. Mahan, do you happen to have anything gathered? So I've been looking here.
Nope.
We are opening, of course, with pleasure to an audience.
Thank you all very much. Definitely a conversation that we would like to hear more of, I think, speaking for myself and the audience. Really interesting to get both sides of it. So thank you so much.
Maybe I have one last call. Is the term
go for it.
DeFi, Saro Pooya, is it a good term or do you prefer another one? The term GameFi.
Oh, GameFi. Yeah. No, I don't think. I think decentralized. I mean, I think in terms of decentralization in the metaverse, a shared space where people come together, because
That's
it
better,
goes
right?
beyond. It does. I actually think it goes beyond gaming, and it speaks to how we actually come together, and there is more to the story. So I don't think GameFi really
Pooya
encompasses
GameFi as a term?
It has been great. I think we have reached the stage where some of these terms, even play to earn, like some of these terms, we should start moving away from them. GameFi is one of them.
About
Absolutely.
blockchain
And Sarah,
gaming?
maybe rather de-game.
Exactly.
If you want to use DeFi and you said decentralized gaming, it's maybe better than that. So thanks for that closing remark, Mehan. If you don't have anything, I look forward to welcoming watchers in the social area after the next presentation. I'll be hanging in and look forward to getting to know a few people. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Guys.
Thank you so much.
Tuning in from
We
my
have a
end.
bit of a
Thank
break
you
now
so
as
much.
well.
Thanks,
So if
Pooya.
people want to network, want to go, there's some roundtables still open. You can meet some of the speakers, some of the sponsors, and check out the booths. So thanks again, everybody.
Nice. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.